Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tenor. It's Friday, July 26, 2024. We're doing this video intraday. If you're a supporter, you get these videos intraday. Consider being a supporter for 99 cents. But I'll put these videos out at 4 p.m. for the public. So no big deal. We're going to talk about SPY on multiple time frames. We're going to focus in on the 2021 top, because I think we're going to have some sort of complicated top coming up here in the near future. It's going to be very volatile. And I'm going to dig in on the daily time frame and show you what this looked like here. Nothing's exact, but you'll see that there within each week there were huge swings to the upside and to the downside. And it ended up being an ending diagonal. And we can show you how that might look. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but that's going to be the important takeaway. And then do we have our bottom? I think we have our bottom in, and what it'll look like if this move fails, then something else obviously happening. We have another target below, but we'll talk about that in the lower time frames. So let's get into it. And by the way, if you're new here, go down to that bottom right hand corner, hit that Options Tenor logo and subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you for all the support. We have 2000 top here, 2021, and we're forming our top now. This can work out in a couple different ways. I do think that we'll have 1 or 2 more months of working this top here. Very similar to here. We have 1 month, 2 months, 3 months that we tagged this top line here. So do I think we exceed this top by much? Probably not, if we do it all. So we'll check that out. We have multiple divergences and a 9 cut D mark here, all sorts of sell signals. So we have to be super cautious in the higher time frame that we'll have these huge move. Volatility is existing. We'll have huge moves to the downside, and then price should hold and continue to move higher. And I like to describe things and go through things fairly thoroughly. So if you're in this just for a quick look at things and getting some targets, and just go ahead and speed up this video, 1.5, 1.25, something like that. Here's the 2000 top on the weekly time frame. Get some movement to the upside. So on the weekly time frame, we're holding that 8 EMA. Super important for the momentum indicator. So momentum's still up. Holding on to it, we dip below, back above it now, and we're probably going to have a little bit of trouble with this 2021 and 2000 trend line. That's going to be something that I believe we're going to oscillate around, but get back above there, and we can kind of hold that and somehow look for a higher top here. Now, this is what we're going to focus on, but we're going to do that on the daily time frame. So I'll look at that. Just look at the weekly swing. So after getting the top, you had 2 weeks down, very similar to what we have. We have two weeks down, and then a massive week the next week, back to test the tops. A nice holding the 8 EMA, a nice move down. Now the next week, it appears that maybe Monday or so on the next week, gap down back to that same support, and just eked out a higher low, just barely, and then ripped back to new highs. And then the week after was a really, really small range week where price topped, and that was it. Okay, it doesn't have to look exactly like that, but we'll show you how that is an ending diagonal. Ending diagonals look different every time. For anybody that's new, we hit our target up here, the 162, so we're probably going to dance around this 162 and see if price gets above there. We have our time reference here at 729, so we have something coming in next week at the 729 time relationship on the weekly time frame. Let's go to the daily. The daily time frame, We have our wedge, filling out the wedge. Now here's the hard part, and I'll show you this over and compare. So we had the inverted hammer. Here's what's happening right now. I believe we have our 3-wave move that's complete, and an inverted hammer where we're getting our reversal. We're gonna have a tough time we're right at resistance. We're at this trend line resistance. So technically this could be a back test. So now if you like, you could put on some hedges, some put hedges. This could just be a back test, and we go down to this lower target. That was our final target if price wanted to, at the 533. And that would change my storyline to this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 if that were to occur. And then I doubt that we get to new highs. As a matter of fact, I think we just back test and then head lower at that point. So that would change my storyline if we didn't hold this 50-day moving average. Now trend lines change. So, and this is what I'll show you right now. Let's go back to 2021. Okay, this is the top we were concentrating on here. Look at this. This looks exactly the same. We got our top there, a nice 5-wave move there. And if you drew a trend line from the 2 bottoms there, you just sort of get back testing on it. So those 2 lines there, they become somewhat valid, but we just back test higher on them. But it just looks messed up because we broke down from that. So it looked like, hey, this could be super, super bearish at this point. Back test got over. It really just started to oscillate over this line. So really tough. And if you start to draw trend lines for the new high, you end up way over here. And it probably ended up being a channel or so, but it really big move. So after we got our high, you had the initial move down, just like we had here. And the trend lines become a little less valid. Now we're looking at horizontal lines. I like them better anyway, but you had this recent high and then access support twice. So after this dip, we ripped up, retested the highs, just obliterated here in 3 days, back to the lows, massive move, and then ripped back up to the new highs and ended up with a one more new high. So this move here was an ending diagonal. You have a 1, 2, really deep retracement, a 3 that ripped, very shallow 4, and just eked out a new 5 here. So just a really volatile move. And I think we'll see some volatility coming up. We already have. So we should see that start to continue. Let's move back up here. So although we didn't make it down to this recent high, we did in the Qs, but we're holding that gap right there. And our initial move down, if price goes higher, again, it could, just like that one, it could test the highs here, close the gap, and then probably get beat down a little bit, maybe retest it doesn't have to go all the way back to the lows like the other one. Maybe test the 2000 highs again in the support area, and then continue to just get just a messy 5-wave move. So either way, we're looking for 5 waves up here. And I know you can redraw different lines, but these trend lines just aren't as important to me anymore. That one seems to look perfect there. So we'll leave that on there for reference, but it's really going to be these horizontal lines that are just going to matter so much more. So we need to get above this to be any bullish at all. The 546 would repair a lot of this situation. We're at it right now, so puts, it doesn't hurt to have puts at this point. I do think we get over it, but price will have to prove that coming up here next week. Any moves, 1% moves, just like yesterday, they can be wiped away immediately. So you just have to be careful with this volatility as it moves up. And like I said, this is a 3-wave move, so clearly that's a corrective move, and we need to get a new high. If we fall down and we have a 5-wave move, that could be an impulse and then a back test and further. Those are the 2 scenarios we're looking at. And this move happened a lot quicker than I thought. I thought we were going to move down into FOMC. Clearly, price did not do that. And now we're at 725. You see the significance of this? We got our low at 725 there. So I'll go ahead and take that off of there. Time and price. That's what we looked for. And here being 726, that's just really the same time frame. I don't expect a whole lot more to happen off of that. So our next is 729 on the weekly, and on the daily 730. So we'll be looking in that time frame for something, whether we get a new low and test this area, or we continue to move higher and reject off of here. So if we get a nice move into 730 and FOMC, maybe that's where we test the highs and then get a reversal off of that. And the price could move so quick, then maybe we get a low at 8.5. So we'll look at these as price goes into time. I need to add on some more time relationships as well, because I've not added onto these 2 tops and these 2 bottoms on the lower time frame. So that will be super important for us. And I think the top here is the important one on the daily time frame. So I do need to add those in. So moving to the 65, we have somewhat of a channel. These things move, so I could redraw that channel so it's touches the bottom, because I'm not quite there yet. So again, these things are not perfect. You do try to fit them in as needed. I don't know. I'll probably just adjust things a little bit. Sorry to do this on your time. Okay, so if that's our low in there, then that makes sense right there, because then let me move this down just a little bit more, because our highs might test there. All right, so we have these lows and these lows here, so that will be our valid channel so far. And looking in a little bit closer, we have a channel, a bullish falling channel, and we're having trouble with that 2000 and 2021 trend line. That's this one right here. So having a little trouble there. Again, this is a spot where we could add some puts, and I think I will as soon as I get done with this video, because if we look at this in one different way, this could be a last leg. This could be a 3, 4. So we're looking to get over 547 would kind of solidify this bottom, but this still could be a 1, 2, and an ending diagonal that just kind of drags along the bottom of the channel and gets us to that last target. So that's our risk. But I'm playing this as if the bottom is in. We have this gap up. And I'll add on some put protection going into Monday. Monday typically follows through with Friday. So us being bullish today, it would be a likely situation that we continue higher on Monday. If you want to be conservative, you can wait till after you get through this channel before you jump in. But then just know that you're limited on space and time. So the Elliott wave Fibonacci picture. So this is what we mapped out before. Let's go ahead and we looked at this and said, hey, we're probably going to reject off of there. We had our 100% move, just a little bit of wick below. So this is very symmetrical. And that was right into our 382. So that gave us some confidence that this is a wave 4 and that we're looking for wave 5. as some sort of, either it can be a direct move, but if this is an ending diagonal, each wave is going to be, it's going to look corrective. So you're going to have a 3-wave move for 1, 3-wave move for 2, and so on. 3 for 3, 3 for 4, and lastly 5. So that's what we'll be looking for. The 382 is a very important level that we'll be holding. If this breaks down, I will no longer consider this a wave 4, and it will look something more like this. And this is what we mapped out. We got to that 382. Now I do expect new highs here, and likely around this area, just where this arrow is, we'd look for another low, perhaps into 8.5, 8.6 that we were talking about before. So this is how I do suspect this will map out. This is our primary. And if price starts to fail, then I do believe we get one more low. And perhaps this is just a complex wave 4 correction to the downside, and we get our wave 5 here. But then after that, either way, we'll have a trade set up here too. Then if price goes down, we'll look for a back test, because that would complete this one. But so far playing out well. The market's looking strong, getting a bounce here. I'm not going to play the Qs as much, because I do believe this is going to be the weaker sector. And I think the weight is going to be pulled by SPY, the large stocks in that, and not necessarily the tech stocks and the Dow. And I do suspect the large tech will bounce with it, but just get lower highs in most of them. Now the VIX. The VIX did exactly what we wanted it to. It got up to that 19, rejected off of there, and is allowing the market to go higher. So if the market wants to go a little bit lower, we'll probably see a significant bounce here. Not necessarily a new high, but if we get a bounce in the VIX that brings us up to retest, then we'll probably see another low in the market. And then this will diverge, because it won't get a new high, but we'll have a new low in the market. And that will give us a bullish divergence in the market. So this is our very important downtrend line. We tested that, peaked above it, and got the wick that I was talking about. Now we had a doji candle here and reversing off of there. So again, that's just playing out very well. Let's go. It's really all I want to show. We have some really good setups out there. Boeing, Snowflake. Let's look at the Qs, and then we'll end this video. QQQ made it down to this previous high, and that held. So I love that. And this is also a wick through the channel. The channel looks kind of messy here, but it still is holding right there. We'd probably end off here in the options expected move. So I might kind of rest there for a little bit. But same thing. This to me appears like it's completed with a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But if this is some sort of wave 4, then we do have possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move to eke out a new low, possibly down to this channel. And this would be some sort of maybe triangle or so. So if it starts to break down, I think our next level will be down here to 4 to 45. But I do suspect, and I'll play this with my back against it at the 460, that will play out. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we talked about. We had our 5-wave move down. We said that we'll probably make it to that top around 460. So this is a wave 1 for us right now. And I think the wave 2 is going to be much deeper than a typical wave 2. I think we'll probably get to close or come close to closing this gap, at least test it. And I'll take these off for now. We got down to the levels, so this is what I suspect. All right, I need to draw my wave 2 in there, but not super important. There it is. So the wave 2 is in there somewhere up here. We'll see. We'll be looking for something that kind of mimics that 5-wave move up, but this one will end up being a 3-wave move up, not getting a new high. But if SPY gets a new high, we'll probably see a deep retracement in the Qs. All right, that's what I got for you guys. That's our update. Suspect that we'll be in this correction for 2, 3, possibly up to even 6 weeks of movement. So bullish until proven otherwise. Have a wonderful day and have a great weekend. We'll talk to you in the next video.